Hello, CoDA family. I am Jackie, recovering codependent and electronically challenged, technologically challenged. So my codependence is highly activated right now because one of my areas of feeling inferior is with technology. We are now going to officially start the workshop. All right. Welcome, everyone, to our Creative Conscious Contact Workshop. This is a brand new workshop. You all are my guinea pigs today. So here we go. Today, this is our CoDA approved literature that we will be using. We will be using the 12 Steps Handbook. Ta-da! We will be using this pamphlet, Tools for Recovery. Ta-da! We will be using the CoDA Blue Book. I don't have that here. We will be using our workbook. It's the green workbook. Oops, ta-da! We will be using the In This Moment Daily Meditation book. It's this tiny little one. I also used some stuff from our CoDA.org website. All right. So that's all the stuff. You can grab your books or not. Most of the things I actually wrote out onto the slides, if it's still on the slides. All right, where did this workshop begin? Last summer, so summer of 2020. And in one of these videos, I was watching a woman talk about meditation who's a surfer. And she said that every time before she surfs or in the middle, just while she's surfing, she jumps into the ocean and floats. And that's a form of meditation for her. My mind was blown. I'm like, you mean you're not sitting in a chair with your candle lit and with your, birds chirping on the CD player? She's in the water. So that summer, I have a pool. I'm blessed enough to have a pool in my backyard. That summer, every time I jumped in the pool, I would just float and I would feel God holding me up. So that is where it all started, was with this unique expression of meditation. Now, let me just say, during this presentation, I will use God and higher power interchangeably. Whatever you have, whatever your version of higher power is, that is the entity that I am speaking about today. So for each of us, I do think that is an individual part of our journey. I will speak more about that in a moment. So God slowed me down today by turning off my internet. All right, so before we talk about step 11, which this workshop is based on step 11, we got to talk about step 3, because that's where we all learned that we needed to make a decision. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God, right? So this is from our Tools of Recovery on page 17. This is part of what I want to read to you about higher power. The very heart and soul of the Codependence Anonymous 12-step program is the idea of a loving higher power, as each person understands that concept. Some of us call that entity God. Some people use nature. Others might use a loved one who has died or a higher form of themselves as their higher power. With a loving higher power in our lives, we are no longer alone. Doesn't that sound wonderful? I'm going to read that again. With a loving higher power in our lives, we are no longer alone. We are never alone, people. As we develop this relationship, the deep emptiness, the hole in the soul that so many codependents describe begins to fill up, not with people, not with material goods, not with substances, but with an overwhelming sense of connection, belonging, and being loved unconditionally. All right, did you all know that we have prayers in CoDA? We have prayers for each of our steps. I did not know this early in my recovery. I've only been in CoDA only. I'm not going to qualify that. I have been in CoDA since July 7/11 is my birthday. No, gosh, I gotta slow my brain down. I've been in CoDA since July 11th, 2019. There it is. And I've been in recovery since November 16th, 2017. So I just celebrated 4 years in recovery. But I love these prayers and they correspond with each of our steps. So if you would like to read out loud with me this prayer, step 3 prayer in this moment, I can choose my own higher power. I can set aside all the old beliefs about who I am not and be who I am, a child of God. That's each and every one of us. I can remind myself that faith in a higher power becomes a faith in me, and that my recovery lies in being true to myself and to my higher power. So in your CoDA workbook, if you have not worked through all of your steps, we have these questions in our CoDA workbook, and these 3 questions I think will help you identify who your higher power is. What does, as we understood God, mean to me? Am I ready to let go and let God have a hand in managing my life? What does to the care of God mean to me? That's in our CoDA workbook. In step 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. By working step 11, this is our transition, we opened ourselves to the nourishing light that conscious contact with God provides. When we were ready, our everyday lives and relationships could reflect the peace and serenity that would come from our conscious contact with God. Beautiful. Step 11, this is what we're here to talk about today, folks. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. All right. This is from our CoDA Blue Book. Step 11 guides us as we grow and evolve in our spiritual program, remembering that codependence is a spiritual dilemma. That is what we are working through, a spiritual dilemma that's crucial to our recovery. Through our codependent behaviors, we made people, places, and things our gods, giving them importance and power. To avoid the possibility of returning to our former codependent ways, we must pursue a greater relationship with our higher power on a daily basis, not only when things get so painful that we have no choice but to turn to God. Every day, every single day. That's what our Blue Book tells us. All right, back to our 12 Steps Handbook, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God. This is what they have to say about that. In the beginning, some of us needed direction. I might go out on a limb and say all of us needed direction. We weren't clear where prayer left off and meditation began. It was explained to us that prayer was talking to God. Meditation was listening for God's guidance. How we chose to meditate and pray would be an individual decision. The second part of step 11, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out. Just as each of us had to take our own inventory, request that our own character defects be removed and make our own amends, right? That's what we did in steps 4 through 9. So we learned that the purpose of the 11th step suggested that we improve our own bond with God. I think that's an excellent suggestion. All right, popcorn time. So if you remember what we've done at other workshops, popcorn time, let's see if I can switch this screen. Oh, this is where we might, I'm gonna stop my share and then I'm gonna go back and you all are gonna send me all your good vibes as I navigate technology, and we're gonna go to here and it worked. Okay, thank you, higher power. So our popcorn time, now I have to go back to here. What does prayer and meditation currently look like in your daily life? Let me see if this works. What does prayer, so this is where you are going to participate by raising your hand. What does prayer and meditation currently look like in your daily life? Okay, do we have any hands up? Anyone? This is the participation portion of our workshop. What does prayer and meditation currently look like in your life? Would anyone like to share? Great. Thank you. What does prayer and meditation currently look like in your daily life? with floating in between. I like that lots. All right, we'll take two more. Say that last part. What do you get? Comfort, comfort. Yes. I love that. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you. What do you have for me? Yes. Thank you. I'm going to take these last three. Yes, I'm a musician as well. I relate to that a lot. Chanting, singing, I think all forms of music. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Good to see you here. What do you have for me? All right, so we've got lots of ways that we're already doing this. Good work, team. All right, now I'm going to go back to my other screen. Okay, boop. All right, so we have a general idea what prayer and meditation currently looks like in our daily life. Okay, let's see here. This is from our CoDA Blue Book. As we grow through our daily practice of step 11, we are truly allowing God to control our daily lives and recovery. Our fears decrease and we come to trust that we all need to meet each day. Okay, sorry, let me read that again. Our fears decrease and we come to trust that all we need to meet each day is provided for by our higher power. Our strength and our spiritual empowerment grow more present in all our relationships. Our faith in God is continually renewed as we watch God's miracles unfold in our lives. I like that the way they state that is not like if this happens, it just says that it happens. Our faith in God is continually renewed as we watch God's miracles unfold in our lives. Our spirit progressively comes to know peace and well-being. And I know I would like more peace and more well-being. That's why I keep coming back. All right, this is from our workbook, Daily Prayer and Meditation, connect us with the God of our understanding and how we want to live today. It is our way of acknowledging to ourselves, it says it there again, that we are never alone. So, and you know, I do believe that God is always with us. I also believe that we have been given the gift of recovery, so we never have to be physically alone either. You know, we can log into a meeting and find our new friends and family. All right, next popcorn. So I've been thinking a lot this idea of conscious contact, right? So I just want to talk about what the word conscious means. So I'm going to come down here and we're going to say conscious. I would like for you to raise your hands. Whoops. Oh, okay. And tell me, what does conscious mean? Those of us that are sober, yeah, I think there's a different feeling around the word conscious. Uh, you know, and I do feel like the contrast of not being clear-headed, the contrast of what the unconsciousness feels like when you aren't sober makes this new sober living feel so conscious. Talk to me. Present in the moment. I like that. What do you have for me? Self-awareness. Oh, I like that. Deep inner, you all know what I mean. Okay, I'm going to add to this that today, especially, we're just going to talk about how intentional all of this is. I think bringing in intentionality makes it feel purposeful. So this is our work around what consciousness means. Yeah, an awareness, being present in the moment, constantness. Yeah, oh, I see the word awareness a lot. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my other screen, making it look like it's easy for me. Okay, let's go back to here. We did that. All right, these are the goals of the workshop today. Goals of creative, conscious contact. Remaining open and teachable at all moments, seeing ourselves through God's eyes and seeking to see others through the eyes of God. Receiving each moment as sacred. Every single moment can be sacred. Pausing throughout the day to listen to God. Growing in awareness, there is that word, growing in awareness of your constant need of God. Living as though the present moment has no competition. Developing a rhythm of living that brings God to mind throughout the day. And inviting God into all our thoughts, conversations, and activities. What that surfer woman pulled to my mind was that every single thing in my life could be a conscious contact with God. So let's look at that last one again, inviting God into all thoughts, all conversations, all activities. So this doesn't mean that, we're just walking around holy, holy, holy. It's having an awareness that we can invite God into whatever we are doing, speaking, thinking, all of that. The one power and presence is always within and around me. This is not CoDA literature. This is just something to chew on. God, the one power and presence is always within and around me. Nothing can change this truth. I affirm that the light of God surrounds me. I give thanks for this indwelling power, my protecting presence. Wherever I am, I feel secure because I know God and I are one. There is no place where, that should say where God is not. Wherever I go, God is always with me. I can never be without the presence and security of God. Oh, I'm going to save that one for a second. I'm coming to this awareness that I believe this is as Jackie sees it, that God is constantly available. It's just like flicking a switch. That awareness that you all spoke of. It's just opening my eyes, seeing it, feeling it, acknowledging it. And it's not always this huge, big, powerful thing. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. All right. Do you know who is really, really, really super duper extra amazing at doing this? This awareness of God? Children. I see it in children all the time, in the way they play, in the way they talk, the way they laugh, the way they are able to be in the present moment. We unlearn that at some point. This is not an inner child workshop, but I do believe that work is very important. All right. So today's workshop is on the practical side of meditation and prayer. What does it physically look like? What actions can we do? What new practices can we learn? Today, we're not really going to be talking about the meaning behind it or how it feels, because I think for each of us as we're on this journey, that will look differently for each of us. But today we are setting up the structure. And I do want to talk about the word practice. I am a musician, and so practice, practice, practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? By practicing, right? So I just want to read some, I pulled out my handy dandy thesaurus. These are some synonyms of practice. Practice these principles in all our affairs. Practice means to rehearse, to work on, to repeat, to refine, to train, to study. Do you know what word is not on this list? To be perfect at. Oh, thank goodness. We don't have to be perfect at any of this, people. So today's workshop is a structure. It's a vessel. It's a form for this. We're just giving it a shape. So today we're going to learn how to try out new spiritual practices. I would ask that you would be open to some of the thoughts we're going to have today. I don't think we really know how this spiritual program works. And so today we're going to create space to see what happens. These are some common creative conscious contacts that I could think of. I think these would be generally accepted. Yoga, walking a labyrinth, that's walking the map on the floor while you pray, breathing meditations, daily readings, journaling, affirmations, guided meditation, fasting, and Lectio Divina. That is the practice of reading scripture or other meaningful literature. You usually read it 3 times with pausing in between, focusing on words that pop out at you. Some people do that with art. But these are things that we're not going to talk a lot about today, although now that I'm looking at this list, we are going to talk about journaling. Okay, prayer. These are different kinds of prayer. Fixed hour prayer, that is praying at certain times of the day. Different religions have different hours that they focus on. Liturgical prayer, praying through scripture, having a prayer partner, intercessory prayer, healing prayer, prayer walking, breath prayer, contemplative prayer, conversational prayer, communal prayer. Tons of kinds of prayer. All right, different postures for prayer. This is something that came up during my research, and some of these I haven't done. One of them I still haven't done. So standing to prayer to honor the presence of another person or God. Outstretching our arms to prayer. I do this sometimes when I hike. If I come to a beautiful space and I don't care who sees me, I'll stand there on the trail and I'll just hold my arms up. This pulls our awareness toward heaven and opens the core of our body toward God. If you're sitting somewhere, just try opening, put your arms up and you can feel what that does to your body. Uplifted eyes draws our attention above earthly realities. This is not my line. I took this from a book. Draws our attention above earthly realities to eternal verities. That was too beautiful for me to change. Kneeling prayer, expressing humility and reverence. Prostrate prayer. This I have not tried yet. This is lying face down or bowing low to the earth, and that reminds us that we were created from dust, and to dust we will certainly return. It is a posture of submission and surrender. You know what? I want to show you those. Any of you who have heard my story or seen a workshop with me, I've shown you this is my picture of surrender, my first time through the steps. My sponsor at that time, she is still an artist. She's not my sponsor anymore, but we did a lot of poetry, art. And when we got to surrender, there was nothing that felt as full and right for me as this photo. And my girlfriend, who I won't embarrass by putting her on the screen, she's a professional photographer, and this is her daughter. I can see her right now. She's my bestest bestie in the world. And this was her daughter on an abandoned shed. Like a covering over, in my mind, it's a beautiful barn. So anyhow, that is my picture of surrender. I love it, her little pigtail. So anyhow, and then at my last workshop, we talked about hands up, hands down, that when we pray hands down, we're releasing things to God or the universe, or that things that will just evaporate. And then a hands up prayer is then our hands have space that we can accept new things and more abundance. So that's another posture for prayer. Oh, okay. See, there's a double screen. I redid my work. Okay, we are going to do a quick popcorn time, creative conscious contact through all of our senses. So this is a time when we're going to get super creative. We're going to talk about different ways that you maybe never thought of before, or maybe something that you've done before that involves touch, vision, smell, taste, sight, I know there's controversy around there being more senses. I don't care which senses you're pulling from. I do want to talk about sensory integration overlap, that a lot of these things in meditation have, like, let's take music for example. I do believe that music is both touch, because we can feel the vibrations. Like if you've ever heard a pipe organ, I feel like that sound comes through you, as well as hearing. So you don't have to pick something that is specific to one sense. All right, but we are going to do a popcorn on creative conscious contact to higher power through our multiple senses. Okay, if you want to raise your hand, and we're just going to come up with a list here of different ways that we can connect with higher power. While you guys are raising your hands, I'll go ahead and write. I think mindful eating is a way. I think another thing around eating is alternating foods, right? One bite of this, one bite of that. So you're mindful of what it tastes like. That keeps our palate awake. Can I say all of your senses are alive? I've never done that. I'm too, it's fun and you're focused. All right, and you can give more than one if you. That is beautiful. Absolutely. I love that. I've never heard that one. Yes. Yeah, I play the piano, and there's something very meditative about that, especially if the music is very difficult and I can't think of anything else. I just want to give a shout out, adult people in this room. Part of being a kid is trying new things and being bad at it. And at some point in adulthood, like, we would never play guitar in public if we were truly bad. Kids do that all the time, it's called recitals. And parents go and watch kids. Oh man, right? Beginning strings concerts. Woo wee. Um, I encourage you to be really bad at something that you enjoy doing, right? You don't have to be great to pick up. You got to learn, right? Cut yourself some slack. Get rid of that perfectionism. Being present puts you in HP's presence. I like that a lot. Thank you. I like that. Involves all the senses. And I'm going to put teaching on there, because I do think that's a way to connect with higher power. And what do you have? Yes. Yeah, and if any of you have sung in a choir, that's our group sport, that communal, you know, um, but to me that feels like prayer. All right, this is a good list, people. Oh, I like that lots. I love that you connect to higher power through horse manure. I'm also
That's
going to write, while we are talking about animals, I feel like, when I'm on hikes, honestly, like if you've ever heard a rattlesnake, like that wakes you up. I think that's God tapping on your shoulder, or the birds, or like, the lizards or whatever it is that makes the bushes ruffle, but you don't know what it is. Like that uncertainty, that's kind of exciting too, brings your senses alive. Um, Also for sounds, I'm going to list for me the ocean, just sitting there. Yeah, listening to that. That is my heaven here on earth. Yes. Anyone who's ever had a baby fall asleep on you, oh, that is not, oh, and the breathing, right? And then they just nuzzle in a little further, like they just can't get in close enough. Baby nuzzles, I'm going to put. Both of my sponsors are here now at this meeting. In the now, in that unspoken connection. Is that a fair representation? Yeah, in the moment, spirituality. Yeah, it's a mystery. I'm gonna write that there. All right, last one. My girlfriend and I were up in Montana last summer, and we hiked every day, and we would feel the different breezes, sometimes cool, sometimes a little warm, or like that smell of hot dirt. And it just felt like God was breathing on us. All right. Okay, so now we are in the portion of the workshop where I have way too much information for only 39 minutes. So we'll get to what we can. These are just some creative things for you to think about to connect with higher power. So I want to talk, especially in this day and age of Zoom, where we are so often doing our meetings from our home. I just want to talk about intentionally setting up your space. I've got, I was rushing around and I made sure my friend got my candle. I'm like, go get the lighter so I can have my candle, you know. Um, so just being very intentional about the space that you are having your meetings in. So these are some ideas. Involve all of your senses, intentionally make your space special. A candle, warm socks, a fuzzy blanket, being aware of the lighting. There's an evening meeting that I go to on Mondays, and I can watch the sunset out of this window because it's west facing, and my room slowly gets darker, and I like that. Clear anything from your space that does not enhance your creative energy. Hide the clock. Do you prefer, what is visually appealing to you? Do you want it stark or do you want it decorated? Do you want a simple space or do you want to fill it with the items that you cherish? I spend a lot of time at my sink in my kitchen, and I have a windowsill there, and every single thing on that windowsill is something special to me. Um, and I like to find stuff when we're hiking. On our trip to Montana, we took dirt from every place that we stopped, and I now layered the dirt And that's what I look at. It's beautiful, different textures, different colors. This is what I see. So while I'm washing the dishes and making the food for my children who want to eat every single day, I'm in the kitchen a lot. I look at these beautiful things that remind me, they're like talismans for me. So dust and organize your space regularly. Um, Okay, this is another double. Hide the clock as well as non-essential electronic equipment. Then, we talk about triggers as being bad things so often in recovery. I want to talk about good triggers. It's setting things up so that your body, soul, mind knows what's coming. I have a friend that when I walk in their house, I feel my body just relax because their space, their house feels like a sanctuary to me. Even when I pull up into his driveway, I can just feel like my pulse slowing down. That's a good trigger, right? So why not set up your meditation space and your meeting space like that as well? So let's talk about a day of slowing, curbing our addiction to busyness. Wake up slowly, go back to sleep several times. That might be one of my most favorite things. Drive in the slow lane. Chew slowly, savor each bite. Stay at the table after you're done eating. Those of us with kids, can I be excused? Can I be excused? No, we're going to sit here and have some time together. Play with marbles or some other childhood favorite. Speak slowly. Look into people's eyes. Plan time in your schedule with nothing. Intentionally choose the longest line at the bank or grocery store. Have any of you ever done that? Yeah, slow yourself down. I see Lisa nodding. Take a few breaths before you answer the phone so you can answer with a welcoming hello. Read slowly. Try taking the bus or other public transportation. Set aside a few hours to be intimate with your partner. Take a walk somewhere beautiful. Stop and look. This is a new method I just heard about, Shinrin Yoku. This is if you don't live near a place beautiful or you don't have time to go to that beautiful place. It's slowly and mindfully walking through a natural wooded area in your imagination. There's a cabin I grew up staying at near Caledonia, near Gettysburg, and there's this thick woods behind it. That's one place I can go in my mind. I can see the walk, I can see the rock I sit on. My other place that I go to mentally is swimming with sea turtles, which I've only done once in my life. I can't wait to do it again. It was one of the most peaceful things I've ever done. When I need to get an MRI or something that's loud and where I have to be quiet, I go and I swim with the sea turtles. Let your children dawdle. Those of us with kids, we're always, hurry up, get your shoes. Why don't we wake everyone up 15 minutes earlier in the morning and then the kids can have a little more time. Now this last one, don't drink any caffeine, don't throw anything at the screen. It's just an idea on your day of slowing. Simplicity, uncomplicating and untangling your life. What better way to connect with higher power? Downsize your possessions, simplify your eating, buy less, use simple and honest speech, clean out your garage or your basement. I love this next one. If someone admires something of yours, give it to them. I was in the 7th grade. My sister, who was in the 8th grade, a year older than me, she's still a year older than me. I loved her. I loved her belt. She had this braided belt. She gave it to me. She was in 8th grade. I still remember this. I have something on my windowsill that a friend gave to me. It's this bluebird, and I admired it. It was her mother who has passed away. It belonged to her mother. She gave it to me. That's amazing. Limit your choices. Do you really need 4 tennis rackets, 8 kinds of cereal, 487 TV channels? Just something to think about, people. All right. Art as meditation. Those of you, I'm going to speak from music. I'm sure artists feel it as well. But when you're playing an old friend, when you're playing an old song, something that you've known forever, it can really quiet your insides, All right, art as meditation, meditative painting. Use the colors you are intuitively drawn to and then squiggle, splatter, use broad strokes. Don't think, Just feel and express. Use your non-dominant hand to draw. Let go of judgment. Embrace your inner child. I am learning as a reforming perfectionist that God does not really live in perfection, you know? And for so long, I have sought perfection because I thought that's where God was, and God is in the mess, like the rabbi said earlier this week. I'm just going to tell you, I got to inscribe a letter in Torah earlier this week. I'm a music director at a synagogue, and we have commissioned a new Torah, and the rabbi was in town this week. And he held my hand and we inscribed the first letter for the word of darkness. And that's why he told me contrast, that light is so important. No, that darkness is essential for light to have meaning. But he also talked about chaos and how God is in the chaos. God is in the mess. So, and the good thing, because that's where I am. I'm in the mess and the chaos. Oh man. All right, continuous line drawing. This is a fun one. Use a single unbroken line without lifting your pen or pencil from the paper and try and draw something. This is just for fun, people. We have rocks in our backyard. We moved into this house when I made the grown-up decision to leave my husband and buy a house. I bought a house with a bunch of rocks in the backyard, and I knew immediately, there are these huge rocks. I knew immediately we would paint those rocks with bright colors. So we paint them with whatever we want, and then we put them back. Oh, I wish I had a picture to show you. It's just so beautiful, and God is in that. And when we have friends over, we invite them to paint a rock. Doodling, also a good way to meditate. The primary benefit of practicing any art, whether well or badly, right, people? We don't have to do everything well, is that it enables one's soul to grow. That's from Kurt Vonnegut, the author. All right, I want to talk about journaling. There are lots of duplicates in this one. Dream, meaning that this page I filled in a couple of times when I thought I'd lost my internet connection. Dream journaling. This is when you wake up in the morning, you immediately jot down your dreams. I have a therapist who believes in the power of dreams and helps me interpret my dreams. It is incredible, but you have to be able to remember them, and I find the details help. Journal about your vacation on a postcard from the place. Mind dump on something from the recycle bin. I love this. If you are feeling overwhelmed, go to your recycle bin and get an old cereal box, tear it open, get a Sharpie marker, dump your brain on that recycled thing. It's going to feel so good. And then put the cereal box back in the recycle bin. So great. Use the best paper you can find and the prettiest markers you have. Yes, glitter pens, people. I'm not kidding. If you haven't tried it, go buy some glitter pens. Journaling on a bumpy surface. Yesterday, I was working on the workshop at a park, and I was writing on the picnic table. It felt so good. Free writing. Set your timer for a minute or more and write continuously anything that pops into your head. Okay, and then I wrote that again, apparently. Include clippings, drawings, collages, article poems, quotes. There are no rules. All right, then we have repetitions, blah, blah, blah. Journal during significant transitions of your life. This can be very helpful. A prayer journal to note how God is showing up over time. I love the woman who earlier said that she writes God letters and then waits for those letters to come back. And I think we could pen those letters for God, you know, yes. Again, beautiful paper, pen, stickers, try it out. Okay, we did all of that. Pilgrimage. There's a place in Tucson. Does anyone know the name of this? I was going to Google it. There's a, it's not a monastery. There's a place where a lot of people who celebrate sobriety go there. They have a labyrinth. Well, anyhow, I took a pilgrimage there a couple of years ago, and they have several areas that you can use to support your sobriety. This is an outer journey that leads me innerly closer to God. A pilgrimage is a way of praying with your feet. This is very different than a retreat where you go someplace and you stay there and you have your candle and your daily meditations. A pilgrimage is intentionally going to some place of significance. You go on a pilgrimage because you know there's something missing inside your soul, And the only way you can find it is to go to sacred places. A lot of people go to Israel, places where God made God's self known to others. In sacred places, something gets done to you that you've been unable to do for yourself. All right, here's a fun way to connect with God. Do it backwards. Interrupt yourself into mindfulness. When we do things differently, often it just kind of shakes us up. Like, why am I doing that? Oh, yeah. So I remember to think about God and invite God into my moments throughout my entire day. Sleep on the other side of the bed. Brush your teeth or hair with the opposite hand. Have dinner for breakfast or breakfast for dinner. Wear a new scent or lotion. Put your bracelet on your other wrist. Take another route on your drive. Take some back roads. Take a bath instead of a shower. If you don't normally wear a dress, wear a dress, because everyone else around you is going to say, why are you wearing a dress? And you'll say, oh, yes, so I can think of God all day long. Or if you always wear a dress, wear slacks. Wear a new scarf. Okay, so when the internets at my house, when the gremlins were just attacking, I went and I got this scarf. This is my grandma's scarf. She's no longer with me for some reason. I was given her entire bag of scarves, I think because I'd made her the bag. So I went and I put this on and it connected me to her. Wear a hat, just something so that when you're like, why am I wearing this hat? Oh yeah, it's to remember higher power. Sit in another part of the train or bus. Okay, then I think these are all repeats. Take a bath instead of a shower. All right. Oh, we did that. We did that. We've done that. All right, we did that. Okay. Service. So very important to mention just about working with another person in recovery, and how that can help your path, and how I do agree with that God shows up often in ways that it's not our own words, it's not our own thoughts. You know, it's there. I do believe there's providence there. There's a divine intervention, or yeah, you know, this recovery stuff is super powerful. In case you didn't know. So these are some thoughts about service. Find acts of service you can do in secret and never get recognition. Service both inside and outside of recovery. I have heard in the rooms when we talk about service, some people have been offended when we talk about service outside of recovery. I want to give a holler out for both sides, because I think when you give service in your area of passion, which might not necessarily be a fit for recovery, I think that feeds your soul, definitely. Do you like to cook? I say it down here, use your specific gifts for service. Do you bake? Do you sew? Do you play the guitar? Are you an organizer? What are you passionate about? Do something to take care of the earth. Oop, I skipped one. Empower someone by pointing out their strengths. Yes. Do something to take care of the earth. Tell your children why they are unique and precious creations. I started doing this at my youngest daughter's slumber parties. She's been in the same group of the same classroom since kindergarten. She's in 6th grade, so I know the moms, I know the kids. When they do slumber parties for her birthday, or all slumber parties, they all sleep in my room. They're all on my floor. So we turn the lights out and I go to bed and we go around the room, and they now know it's coming. We go around the room and I tell each of them what makes them unique and precious and special. And because I know them, I can do this. And it fills them up. You know, and when they were little, we probably did this first and they were in 2nd grade. And some of them had anxiety about being in a new house overnight. And it was such a good connection to God or the universe or something outside of them, something powerful. And, you know, it's like when we do gratitude lists, we can't think about what we don't like because we're thinking about what we like. You know, we're thinking about the good stuff. So offer a blessing to someone. If you have never done this, I still remember the first time this was done for me. It was the music teacher at my children's school. I knew she was a woman of faith. I was in a very dark place. She said, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "You can pray for me." And she put her arms on, we were in a public school, in her classroom. She put her arms on my shoulder and she prayed for me right then, which was not what I had intended at all. I mean, even now, it just fills me up. You can offer that to another person. You can place your hands on their shoulders. If you're in a public place, I do this sometimes if I'm out, and there are other people around, you can hug them and you can whisper that blessing right into their ear. Nobody else even hears it. On my children, often at bedtime, I will touch their head or stroke their forehead, these tender moments. I love this spot right here. They love that. Is it the horned toad that if you do that, it puts them to sleep? Did you know that? It makes a horned toad go into like a meditative. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Try it. But I do that with my children, and it's just that moment. It's a sacred moment. Do you remember one of our goals today was to talk about finding sacred moments all day long? We get to create this, people. If you don't have enough sacred moments in your life, make more. Other areas of service: treat animals with love and respect. Always, always, always. We talked about using your specific gifts. Ask a loved one. Boy, as a codependent, I showed up into these rooms expecting those closest to me in my life to know how to take care of me. Do you know what they didn't know how to do? Take care of me, because I didn't tell them. So if you invite someone to tell you, how can I take care of you? I do this with my children sometimes. They are now in charge of their laundry. They have to do their sheets. They have to make their beds, pack their lunches, do their water bottles. They're growing up, I don't want them to be doing that for the first time at age 18. But sometimes I will say, what can I do to help? And they'll say, it'd be really great if you made my lunch. And then I do, and then it's a special thing, And then I put the little note in there that's the embarrassing, your mom loves you, or the knock knock joke. Choose a whole day to encourage others. I did not come up with that idea. I read it, but wake up and say, today I'm going to encourage everyone around me. Finally, picking up litter. My family calls this being junior rangers. If any of you have ever done the junior ranger programs at our national parks, part of it's always picking up litter as you go around the national park. All right, self-care. Are we really here already? Well, good. I'm going to pause then because I want to show you a couple other of my fun little tools. I've got all sorts of journals that you can color in, do, what do you call it? Brainstorming. All right, self-care. This is an area that I have been exploring and loving. Valuing myself as God values me. I do think that we can love ourselves as no one else can love ourselves, because who knows us better than ourselves? Who can take better care of me than me with God's help? I do believe that. Self-care Cliff's Notes. Here we go. You ready? Exercise, eating sensibly, read a good book, boundaries, people, get a massage, rest, fuzzy socks. Here's that Shinrin Yoku again, walking through the garden in your imagination. Plan your perfect day and then do it. Self-affirmations, fantastic shoes, observing your thoughts without judging them as good or bad, having a hobby, writing a list of my favorite things about me, taking long naps, attending support groups, gardening. Oh, there it is again. Use your vacation days, people. Why are you saving 24 vacation days? You don't need that many. Use one. And really good chocolate. So let me just look at my notes here. Since we have a couple extra minutes, I'm just going to share, and then I will take feedback, a few other areas that I connect with God. For me, closing my eyes is important. I get very visually overstimulated. I often close my eyes whether or not anyone is looking at me, and then I can listen better. I have many different playlists on my phone based on my mood. I can pick that. I'm always making new playlists. I believe we can connect to higher power by the gift of paying attention to another human being. There is no gift as powerful as your full attention. Dancing. Also, I wrote beautiful architecture. You know, when you walk in a building and you feel God's presence, it happens to me also in nature. But those were some that didn't come up in our brainstorm. So I want to close with the 11th step prayer. Oh, I did that.